Hello, everyone, and I apologize for the delay. Just getting the logistics of getting this set up, but welcome and thank you for being here. Thank you for watching if you're watching this after the fact. I'm coming on here today I'm a psychic medium. I've been a professional psychic medium for the last 20 years. Part of it was part-time, but I've been full-time since 2009. And I've done readings for people all over the world, 20 different countries, and of course, across North America. And I have read, I think I've connected with, I like to say I connected with more than 20,000 hearts through my time as a medium. My background is in social work, and I was in the field of healthcare before that, and then social work. I actually finished my education in social work. So I combine my work in healthcare, in when I was in nursing and in social work, with the work that I do as a psychic or intuitive medium. And I do that because it creates a wholeness that I want to achieve in my work as a psychic medium, to not just give you a download of information about your future, but to give you healing and awareness of what may be in your path that you can't see, that is stopping you, like a level of resistance that you may be experiencing, that's stopping you from getting to that goal that you want to achieve. Because I find that's much more useful and helpful to create transformation for someone to receive information. And again, a psychic's job is never to tell you what to do, it's to tell you what we see and then give you the choice to take the journey yourself from there. These are the potentials, because we're living in a quantum reality. We're not living in a 2D world. There are multiple potentials for us at every second, every moment, depending on how we're creating our reality based on the thoughts that we think. Anyway, that's a whole different topic for another day. I really felt this pull or this resonance to come forward and talk about the ego, and especially the way that it's represented in the spiritual realm, or spiritualism realm, because the ego has really gotten a bad rap over the years that I have learned, and I've been on this journey for the last 24 years. When I first started, the ego had a very different level of awareness than it does now. And my gosh, we didn't have much on the internet back then either, because it was dial up. So there wasn't a whole lot of research that you could go and look for. We had to go to books or learn through other people. And I remember visiting this, it was like a little service or something that someone was holding one Sunday, and I never met anybody there. It was my first time going, and it was like a Sunday service, spiritual service, and I sat down and was greeted by some lovely people, and somebody got up to speak, and they talked about the ego and how the ego is, um, if it's doing something you don't like, tell it to F off and go away. And it was like ego bad, no ego bad. And I'm listening to this, and my truth center is not feeling resonant with this information that's coming at me. And it just wasn't sitting right. And at that time, this was quite a number of years ago, when I was still unfolding that whole journey of understanding, and I'm still unfolding that. But it just, something just didn't resonate in my heart with that. It's like, nah, that's not my truth. I don't know what my truth is yet, but that is not my truth. And I paid attention to that, because all the work that I was surrounded by was saying ego bad. Get rid of the ego. You got to eradicate the ego. The ego is not your friend. And it just, again, did not feel right to me, but I didn't understand. And I had to learn a lot about my own ego and the ego in the process of this journey of healing or change. And um, I went through a massive shift over these last 3 years, a huge shift. I mean, I've been on an awareness journey for the last 23, but I went through some really, really, really fast, deep, intense healing where I put myself in those situations, where I was traveling to places to go through very deep, intensive healing. And because I knew I needed to, there was something in me that knew that I needed to go through this change, and I needed help to do it. So it was a very transformative experience and extremely, it changed my life. It literally threw me upside down, truthfully. But I knew, but I had done the work for long enough to know that that chaos is part of the process sometimes of a recalibration of your path. So if you're walking through a path of change and everything starts to go turn upside down, hold tight, because that means that you're on the bridge of change. And in the tarot deck, I like to compare it to the hangman, where in the tarot decks that I have, it's a huge bridge, and you see a cliff on one side and a cliff on the other, and he's in the middle in suspension. And so you've left the old way, and you're not quite in your new world yet. You're on the bridge of change, and sometimes it feels like you're suspended in time, and you essentially are, as you haven't gotten your rooting yet, but you've left the old rooting. And that's a very valuable place to be. And if you can hold space for yourself in that place, then um, understand the power in that, because it is a very powerful place to be, especially when you can hold space for yourself and know that you're going to be okay. We're always going to be okay. We're divine. We just move into separation and fear because that's a lot of the default patterning that we've grown up with. Anyway, back to the ego. So um, I have learned over the last few years to start to have fun with my ego. And it was actually, um, I'm a Dr. Joe Dispenza student. I've gone to many of his live workshops and his advanced workshops, and I can't remember which one it was, but it was a few years ago. And I remember him telling a story about his ego self laughing, like he was laughing with that self part of him. And I never forgot that. And something just resonated so deeply with me. And there was a whole bigger part of the story. But the gist of this is the message that I received from that was, that was one of those aha ping moments where I knew that the ego could have a different representation. And I took that in. I needed to hear that, and I took that in and worked with more integration around that. And because the ego can really take a hold of your life. And I know this because I have been in those places too, where I didn't realize that that's what was going on until afterward. And it would, we have some huge lessons that come out of that. And I certainly did myself. But it's the growth that's the important part. Uh, and learning to love this aspect of yourself, because we are multi-dimensional beings behind this 3D reality, and we have multiple aspects of ourself that we're working with in this 3D reality. We have these characters that we're playing. Some of us are playing moms or parents or fathers, sisters and brothers, working women, the activist, my goodness, there's so many that I could name off. We have aspects of ourselves that are shadow selves too. We all have liars within us. We all have cheaters within us. We all have um, times in our lives where we've prostituted ourselves in some way. We all have these multiple aspects to us. Carl Jung really talks about that a lot. But when we understand that we're multifaceted beings and we have all these different aspects to us, the different aspects are coming out to take charge at different times. And those unhealed aspects of ourselves, the fear parts, sometimes will project or take charge without us knowing, and we may become reactive or defensive instead of being able to hold space and be responsive in a state of love. And it's the awareness of understanding that that really changes the value of your life and how you live your life towards yourself and how you feel about yourself and your reflection out into the world towards others. So, a few months ago, I'll speed up to a more recent moment in time. I was in the shower and I get a lot of downloads in the shower. Actually, the way that I do a lot of my work now is through what I call direct channeling. And I was in the shower and I had this download, and it was about the ego, and it was the what I just loved it. And I can't take credit for this because it literally came through me, but I thought it was so brilliant. So I decided to do a Facebook Live that night. And unfortunately, I can't give you the link. I don't think I can link Facebook, a Facebook video in here. But if you want to go to my Facebook page, it's Jennifer Miller Mackenzie. And you can scroll through if you want to find it. I'm so disappointed that I didn't actually have a chance to download it somewhere else, or that I hadn't recorded it somewhere else, because it was such a great a great story. So, and it started off something like this. Give you the gist of it. You know, you wake up in the morning, and I'm a morning person, and I love my bed. I have a super, super soft pillow top mattress, and I have Egyptian cotton sheets, and I have all white, and I just love the feeling of that snuggly, warm, cozy, really nice material. And I love greeting the morning. And when the sun's shining in my windows, I look forward to getting up and stepping my feet on the ground and giving a moment of gratitude for my day. And then I, make my way to my morning habits and head to the washroom, and I greet my roommate, and my roommate says, "Oh my gosh, you look like crap." And I'm like, whoa, that's, pretty intense first thing in the morning, but okay, whatever. You do your morning routine, go downstairs, go to make a nice cup of coffee, and enjoy a cup of coffee. And I open the fridge, and my roommate comes downstairs to grab a cup of coffee too. And my roommate proceeds to talk about all the stuff in the fridge that I bought that's not healthy for me. And I thought you were going to change your eating habits and lose weight and go on a diet, and what's all this isn't going to help you, this is going to take you the opposite way. And then it's just one thing after another after another. And what if I told you that that roommate is the voice in your head, and you can't get away from it? You cannot get away from that voice in your head. And the more that you push it away or tell it to F off, and that voice in your head is your ego, is just the self part of you, the more it's going to resist. And the more it's going to come fighting back. Because it's not just because you tell it to go away doesn't mean it's going to go away. So you might as well make friends with it, because you're never going to get away from this ever. Even after you cross, these aspects of you to go with you, your essence of you goes with you. So in order for you to be in a harmonious state of self-love and non-judgment for yourself, we need to learn to, and I understand this now, and I'm on that journey too. Need to love those parts of yourself. The parts work. You need to love the ego and what it represents, and understand there's a self-preservation mode that it's attempting to provide you, and that's why it's coming out. It's fear. Oh my gosh, if you do that, you may look like a fool. Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And if you are able to be friends with the ego in you, your ego self, those aspects of you that are fearful, and you can say, it's okay, I got this. I know you're afraid, and there is a chance that I may fumble through this, making this video, right? But I had to move away from that fear of looking foolish while doing a live, because I'm live streaming this on YouTube right now. and get over that, because there's some important content that I really feel other people may resonate with. And to help you through that, there's that voice in your head is not going away. If it's saying mean things to you, doesn't mean you have to listen to it. And I'm not talking about someone with a mental health issue, please understand. I'm talking about that little monkey mind that goes on and on and on, that wants you to be always doing something and always working and never stopping. And it's controlling your life because you're letting it. But when you understand that the monkey mind, or the ego part of you, or the self part of you, is meant to be your servant, and your higher mind, your higher self, your soul is your master. That's the master. So that's the part of you that gets to be a creator in a way that completely will change your life when you start to function your experience here through the eyes of love, which is your higher self. You will completely change the way you walk every day as you, and what you encounter in your world. And it takes time. It's a process. It's a journey of evolution into becoming more of that, and less of that aspect of you that's functioning from your wounds, your fearful self, your old patterns. And it's when those old patterns begin to show up, it's stepping into that higher aspect of you, that unconditional love part of you, to look at that other part of you to say, oh my gosh, I didn't realize this was such an issue. Let's work through that. And then use your tools, whatever those are, to work through that process. I love EFT. That's one of I have many tools. Meditation is a huge tool for me as well. Self-discovery. There's lots and lots of ways to help yourself work through the process of change, changing your life so that you can live it with more of the feeling and desire um, of compassion, of courage, of commitment, all the C's, and feeling confident. There's another C in your world. No matter what's going on, we're all going to have days where our limited self is going to be running the show. But the more that you learn to recognize you're divine, you're a divine spark having a human experience here. And when you let the divine spark within you lead you, you will see how divine your life can actually be. And there's moments of when you have those moments of clarity and you have those moments of connection where you just know no one can take that away from you. No one can touch that, because it's a feeling inside you. It's a frequency, and energy and frequency do not lie. And that's your higher self. That's your essence. They don't lie. That's truth. And no one can take that feeling away from you. You know what that feels like when you've had those moments. So you can go back to that awareness and that knowing. That's who you are. That's who you really are. And when you've had that experience, then you can keep reconnecting to that and create more of that. And that's been my goal as a medium and a psychic, is to help people recognize, number one, that we are eternal beings. This is not life is over and it's done after this. To help people heal, to reconnect them with their loved ones, to help people heal in their own life, and to also understand the power and potential that you are, and how to empower that power from within you, to create a life more of your choosing and less by default. So my journey has been a lot centered around teaching more, and that's my passion, is teaching people how to start connecting with that part of you and learning about that part, knowing first of all that is the truth, and learning about that connection, and then empowering yourself to start experiencing it yourself, because there's no greater teacher than your own experience. So thank you so much for taking the time to connect. I hope this was helpful to those who I felt guided to share this message with today. If you want to know more about me and the work that I'm doing, You can look me up on Instagram, Mystic Medium Jennifer. On Facebook, it's jennifermackenzie.net. That is also my website. Or you can email me at thepathtoinnerpeace@gmail.com. Have an amazing